Assalamu alaikum, this is Huma Islam. Today's topic is the history and importance of the Quran. Revelation of the Quran from 610 to 632 AD. The first revelation occurred, well, it is said that, people believe it's the 27th of Ramadan, but it is also mentioned on the night of Qadr, and the night of Qadr is to be found in the last odd nights of Ramadan. That could be 21st, 23rd, 25th, 27th, and the 29th of Ramadan. It was revealed when the Prophet ﷺ was in Mount Hira. He was indulged in meditation. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, Surah Alaq, first 5 verses were revealed by Jibreel. And what were the first 5 verses? Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq khalaqal insana min alaq. Okay, the first we read in the name of thy Lord who created man from a clot of blood. Now, if you're answering a CAE question based on the first revelation, then you would add the translation of the exact first 5 verses of Surah Al-Alaq as the first revelation. Event of the first and then you would also narrate the event of the first revelation with chronological order. In other words, how the angel came to the Prophet, he was meditating, and then he was grabbed and squeezed because he said, I could not recite. And then his miraculous reciting of Surah Alaq, and then him running back to Hazrat Khatija and seeing, on the way back, seeing Hazrat Jibreel on the horizon with all his wings and being scared, and then the consolation of Hazrat Khatija, and then her taking him to Waraka bin Nawfal. That would be the chronological order of the first revelation. Okay, second revelation, after a long period of time, it was Surah Al-Mudaththir 1-7. O you wrapped in your mantle, arise and warn, glorify your Lord. Ya ayyuhal mudaththir, qum fa'anzir wa rabbaka fakabbir. Okay, remember, if you're getting a question on the first revelation, a detail will be given about the first revelation. If you are getting a question about the revelation from 610 to 632, then you will give a slight, mention of the first revelation. Then you're going to have to mention every single thing that happened in those 23 years. Not every single thing, but majority. So then the second revelation happened after Fitratul Wahi, in other words, a long gap. And what were you told to do? O you who is wrapped in your mantle, in other words, a chadar, get up and warn. Then the third revelation, you were ordered to warn relatives. وَأَنذِرْ أَشِيرَتَكَ الْأَقْرَبِينَ, and warn your relatives. Ashura 2:14. This is when you remember, after the second, you started talking to your friends and told people about it. Secret preaching started. And then when you were told to warn your relatives, what did Hazrat Ali arrange for a feast? And then you invited all of the Banu Hashim to come and attend, and you invited them to Islam, in which Abu Lahab degraded you, but Hazrat Ali stuck up for you. Continued. Okay, fourth revelation is when you were ordered for public preaching, where it is mentioned that therefore declare open to them what you are commanded, and stay away from those who prescribe partners with Allah, the mushrik. This is Al-Hijr, verse number 94. So what did you do after this revelation? You called the Makkans you went to Mount Safa and you started calling different tribal names. And they all came, and you asked that if I tell you that there's an army coming behind this mountain, will you believe me? And then they said, of course, we will believe you because you are Sadiq and Amin. I mean, we've always seen you telling the truth. But and then he preached that, okay, I'm telling you of that there is only one God and he's the only one worthy of worship, and your idols have no, say in the matters of the universe, and there is a day of accountability coming, and Qiyamah, that is a day that you will be resurrected and you will face accountability. And then revelations carried on for 23 years according to different circumstances and different needs. The last revelation was on 9th of Zilhajj, Hajjatul Wida at Arafat, in which the Prophet says, Al-Yawm, the revelations were Al-Yawma akmaltu lakum dinakum wa atmamtu alaykum ni'mati. This day I have perfected your religion and chosen for you and completed my favor upon you. Al-Ma'idah, verse number 3. Different forms of revelation. Archangel Gabriel would come in the true form, in the human form, to inspire to the Prophet's heart. His true form, remember, he saw him on the horizon when running back, and in human form, Angel Gabriel would come to him many times in the form of a human man to inspire onto his heart. Sometimes revelation would come as the sound of bells ringing, and after the bells or the buzzing sound was over, the revelation he would just narrate the revelation as it is. And this bells ringing and buzzing sound was the heaviest for his soul. And sometimes the revelation used to come as true dreams, and as soon as he used to wake up, he used to start narrating the revelation. Types of surahs. The Makki surahs were revealed from 610 to 622. This is the duration in which the Prophet, after first revelation, remained in Makkah, the days of persecution. There are different styles. Surahs revealed in Makkah, Taif and surrounding. Subject matter was based on belief, Tawheed, angels, hereafter, accountability, Qiyamah, stories of prophets and prophecies. Why do you think it was this? Because Allah wanted the Prophet to call people to Islam, to call them to Islam. So that's why fundamental beliefs of Islam were important. Tawheed, believing in Allah, believing in all prophets. And these surahs were short passages, rhythmic, and they had rhyming words. If you can see, I've shown Inna Atayna Kal Kawthar Fasalli li Rabbika Wanhar Inna Shaniyaka Wal Abtar. Can you see Kawthar, Wanhar, and Abtar? They all rhyme. Start with Haruf Muqatta'at. One thing is very important, that most of these surahs start with Haruf Muqatta'at, and that was why were they put there? Because Arabs were people of literature, and they were mesmerized by these haruf muqatta'at. They tried to find out the meaning. They couldn't understand it. So the reason why these were short, rhythmic, because Arabs were poets, and just to bring them, attract them to the revelation. And of course, mankind is addressed in the Makki surahs. Based on angels. So if you can see, I've got Qiyamah there, Noah's Ark, and not this light, not to let this life deceive you. Then the Madri surahs were from 622 to 632, and they were revealed after migration to Medina. Subject matter of these surahs were laws, because naturally now it's an Islamic established state, so laws had to be implied. Ibadah was the verses were about different forms of ibadah and how it should be performed. Social, economic, political, criminal laws all were discussed in the Madri surahs. Pillars of Islam, fasting, zakah, hajj made obligatory in these Madani surahs. Prohibition of alcohol and gambling were in the Madani surahs. It was not prohibited in Makkah because it would have been difficult. And now that they've been practicing Muslims for more than 13 years, it would have been easy to leave gambling and alcohol. Revelations based on hijab, nikah, divorce, and inheritance all came in the Madani period. The address was to, O people of the book, or O Mu'mineen, or O Munafiqun. Ya Ahl al-Kitab was addressed, Ya Ayyuhal Lazina Amanu, or Ya Ayyuhal Munafiqun. Hypocrites were criticized in the Madani surahs, and jihad, qital, was made first for the Muslims in Medina, and long verses. The Madani surahs were based on long verses. As you can tell, Ayatul Kursi, Ayat Ba, and long surahs, Surah Baqarah also.